All right, monster movie every day for October 2022. The movie for October 14th is 1942's The Invisible Agent. That one. So when I saw the poster of this one, I was really excited because it looks like a war movie and it's in 1942, so it's like 6 months after Pearl Harbor. So I was wondering if we are going to get an Invisible Man war movie. So I was pretty excited. So I decided that because my kids liked The Invisible Woman so much that I would just show them The Invisible Agent without me having seen it to preview it first. And it's pretty violent. All right, so I'm reviewing the Blu-ray of it that comes in the 30 movie set. And just off the bat, I wanted to say that the picture is pretty decent. No major print damage that I could see, but the thing that I didn't like was the sound. I thought it was really tinny sounding, and I had to turn it like way up to be able to hear it good. So I'd be really excited for like a better restoration of this one in particular. So the last Invisible Person movie was The Invisible Woman, and it was just like a total reboot, like a different scientist coming to invisibility on his own. This one is like a direct sequel to the other two, in that the original Invisible Man, Frank Griffin, I think his name was, he was this guy, boop, his grandpa. So I really like when it continues on. So I was really excited to see what he was going to do. But he changed his name, and so he doesn't want people to know it. All right, this is probably one of my favorite shots in the whole movie. I just think it looks so good. Look at that. You got the scary German guy pointing his gun at him and all the goons around. And then you got scrappy Invisible Man grandson just staring him down. So I saw this frame and I was like, yes, that might be my favorite shot. So good. Okay, so essentially this movie is like an ultra patriotic spy movie with the Invisible Man in it. And I'm pretty much just going to go through and show you some of my favorite parts. And then I'll tell you what I thought at the end. All right, so all these goons have tracked down the grandson of the Invisible Man, and they are trying to get the secrets out of him because they know he has it. And he's like, "No, I don't." But then he like fights them a couple times, and then they threaten to cut his hand off, and then and then from his hand under the knife and him being like, "Okay, fine, I'll tell you." This is what happens. So he gets the secret out of the drawer or whatever, and then this happens. So. Just in this opening scene where you're getting to meet this guy, I really decided that I like him because he's just like ridiculously scrappy. He's just like fighting all these guys in totally uneven odds. Yeah, so he's just throwing punches, throwing chairs, running all over the place. So he really didn't want that secret to fall into enemy hands, and there's a lot of really cool action scenes in this show actually, and I love this one because it shows that he's just super scrappy. So then the Americans are like, "Yep, those were Axis spies you were dealing with," and he's like, "Well, I'm not giving the secret to them," and they're like, "Well, you should give the secret to us," and he's like, "Nope, no one should have the secret." And then it's like there's like a montage of a bunch of newspapers and it's of the war stuff because Pearl Harbor, and then he's like, "Okay, I'll give you the secrets, but I'm gonna be the invisible person." And then he gets on a plane to go to Europe, and it's a toy plane, and it looks like this. So all the airplane shots, I'm pretty sure, are toy plane shots. So cool. And this actually leads to one of the parts that I think is super awesome, where he's coming down on a parachute, and while he's coming down, he's completely taking all of his clothes off, and so it looks like he's just disappearing as a person and just freaking out the Nazis who are watching him. So then he meets one of these lady spies, and one of her defining character traits is that she likes to unzip her dress a lot and then be surprised that the Invisible Man is in there. So once again, this movie does a really good job of there she goes, unzipping her dress again. It's her favorite thing in this movie. Anyway, they do a really cool job with the like Invisible Man effects. So there he is scrubbing his toes in the tub. I also thought this movie did a really good job of balancing like the scary intenseness of like the war and like a spy setting, but also like total slapstick humor, and then with like a little bit of like budding romance. So I thought the movie actually did a really good job with the tone. It seems like in the past they have people just be total goofballs and then have some serious stuff, but I think this movie did a good job of like the characters being more three-dimensional. So like even this guy that she's having that comes over to her house to have dinner, he's like this big goofball Nazi guy, and they're totally making a fool of him the whole time. Um, but even he has like serious moments in the movie, so I think that they got the tone perfect on this one. This is another one like the Invisible Woman that's a little hard to judge in like the monster movie thing, but since it is in this set, so far I'm really liking it. So my kids were really enjoying a lot of this part, like with all the Invisible Man shenanigans, tricking this guy and spilling stuff on him. They were enjoying that. So I think the kids really like the Invisible Man stuff. Uh, Here comes one of my very favorite quotes in the whole movie. So this guy, boop, says to her, he says, "Beautiful women are always in danger, always. Yes, always." And he's just like getting super creepy. So uh, that's major creep alert on that one. But I thought that quote was amazing. So the movie makes fun of this guy, and she's laughing at him, and the Invisible Man's making fun of him, making a mess of him. But then the movie does turn very quickly to get very serious, like super pro-American and super anti-Axis because it's right during World War II. She then has a quote after this part. She says, "They treat women like dogs. I hate them." It's like, oh, that was really intense. Uh, there's a super anti-Axis like speech that the Invisible Man gives in prison to this guy that is like really intense and just like ripping their side apart. And a lot of the portrayals of the bad guys in this movie shows them bickering and backfighting and double crossing each other. Um, and they're really harsh with it the whole time. So it's almost like the movie has a little bit of propaganda, like anti-Axis propaganda in it. That's a little more obvious, I think, nowadays when we're looking back at it. All right, so she's under super house arrest, and but she decides she really needs to see what this guy looks like. But she's all sad on her bed because they just basically grounded her to her room. And then you can see the Invisible Man come and kiss her when she's feeling all sad and upset on her bed. Right here. Right there. And then look at her face. She's pretty much going to hyperventilate. Okay, so she wants him to get dressed and put stuff on his face so she can see what he looks like. But if you just watch her face as like each new part is revealed, I don't think she's being excited that like she's seeing an invisible man. I look at her face. She's so excited how tall he is. Okay, and then just look how amazed she is when he starts to put it on his face. Also, this is a really cool effect that's fun to highlight. But every time it shows her, she just looks like she's about to like overdo it and pass out or something. All right, I'm not just saying this. Look at her eyebrow on this part. Like she's watching really hard, and she's not just excited he's becoming visible. She's really liking what she's seeing. Look at her eyebrow. Okay, so I really like this part where the Nazis like more or less got him cornered, and then he decides to start a fire to escape. And I mean, maybe just because I really like fire, but I thought this part was pretty awesome, and everyone's trying to run in and stop him, and they're all holding hands, but he's just like lighting everything on fire, and it turns into this big old fire. It's pretty cool. I thought the action was pretty good in this. Also, I think fire looks really cool in black and white. This is an amazing shot right here. Right. Coming up. Right there. Look at that. Look at that beautiful focus and in focus thing. My kids didn't know what happened on this part when he picks up the ink and throws it at him. I had to explain what that was. But yeah, nothing like an invisible person taking out a bunch of Nazis. So this movie, there's some parts of this movie that actually get kind of surprisingly dark, and this is one of them. So he gets caught by this fishnet, or this net that is full of fish hooks. I was like, and he's naked. It's like, oh, that's so horrible. All right, so like I said earlier, how there's a lot of double crossing from the bad guys, just making them look dumb. Um, there's some pretty awesome white guy Japanese martial arts here on this part. So there he goes, little chop, and then flip him over, and then he brutally stabs him. And my kid's like, he just stabbed that guy to death, didn't he? And I'm like, yeah, he did. And then I don't think my kids picked up on what happens after. Some ritualistic stuff. All right, so a little bit of spoiler alert, but the escape scene is so awesome. They escape in a bomber and then decide to circle back around and just freaking decimate everything. They blow up so much stuff. Look at all these airplanes and stuff they blow up. It's so cool. Anyway, when they circled back around and they started blowing everything up, I was just totally cheering. Anyway, can't show too much of that, but I really love that. And then one of my other favorite shots is coming up here. All right, this shot is so beautiful. How the camera's just sitting there, and then they come into frame here in a second after this. But I think it's kind of funny that they can make an invisible person look convincing, but they can't make an airplane look convincing. But yeah, the shot right after this is easily one of my favorites in the whole thing. Look at that. How they just drop in a frame and their parachute comes in. I just think that looks so good. All right, to go along with the fact that she was almost hyperventilating when he was kind of revealing himself earlier, she actually whistles when he gets revealed right here. I was like, wow, this lady's intense. Okay, so my final thoughts on this movie are that it's really good. And I decided that most of the Invisible movies are really good. And this one was no exception. I really liked that it was a direct sequel. He's the grandson of the original guy that got shot by the cops. And let's see. Oh, I put that this one is among the top of all the movies. I think maybe just right below the super top tier ones like Dracula and Dracula's Daughter and the first Invisible Man. But this is easily right up there. This is an awesome movie. It's a cool like spy movie and really aggressively patriotic and anti-Axis movie because it's 6 months after Pearl Harbor that it came out. But awesome movie. Good for Halloween or for any time. Halloween just because it kind of fits in the monster movies. But yeah, definitely worth a go. The Blu-ray is okay. The picture was pretty good and watchable. But the sound was kind of rough. I had to turn it up really loud, and then even then it didn't sound great. So this has been the October 14th movie, Invisible Agent from 1942. So October 15th is going to be The Mummy's Tomb from 1942. And I looked up on IMDb a little bit. It looks like some of the same cast is coming back. So hopefully it's just a direct sequel. I like the more direct sequel because I feel like we're actually continuing on instead of just rebooting over and over. So yeah, I super liked it. It was fun. There was only a couple parts I regretted showing my kids, but for the most part, they liked it too. And yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think and if you've seen this one or if you want to watch it. Bye.